A British woman has been shot to death by her own father, her own dad, visiting him in America. And the crazy thing is, he shot her over an argument about Donald Trump. We're going to get into this. We're going to read this article on Sky News that just dropped not too long ago, right? And we're going to talk about this because this is crazy. But before we do, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and let's just get into it. So a British woman, 23, shot dead by her own dad after arguing about Donald Trump and Inquest. Her name is Lucy Harrison. This is the young lady. You know, sadly, she's lost her life over the most senseless thing by a man that's supposed to love her and care for her as his daughter, by somebody she least expected. So she's packed her suitcase, right? And she's flown all the way to Texas. Let's assume it's just to see him, to see her dad, who obviously doesn't live in the UK. And I know that I know that Americans love their politics, but this is just getting ridiculous. This is just the most ridiculous. I mean, there's no good reason for you to kill your own child, first of all, yeah? She's been shot dead by her own dad over an argument about Donald Trump. Let's read the article, okay? So it says a 23-year-old British woman who was shot dead by her father had argued with him about Donald Trump earlier that day, an inquest heard. Lucy Harrison, a fashion buyer from Warrenton, Cheshire, was staying with her father, Chris Harrison, and his family at their home in Prosper, Texas. And it gets a bit weird as well. So it says Miss Harrison's boyfriend, Sam Leela, who made the trip with her, told Cheshire's coroner's court she would often become upset with her father when he spoke about his gun ownership, right? So, you know, people in the UK tend to have these views about Americans and their culture, their way of life when it comes to the gun laws. When it comes to, you know, some people love Donald Trump, some people hate Donald Trump, but people in the UK tend to have a strong opinion when it comes to these things. And understandably, America is all over the TV, right? They have a huge impact on this country as well. Okay, so people are going to have their mad views. I would say that a lot of people don't understand, or they see what's on the media, or they see what's in the news, and they take everything as it's true, as if it's true. Whatever narrative they want to push about Trump, or whatever narrative they want to push out about anybody politically or some celebrity, they believe this stuff immediately, right? Some people call you a conspiracy theorist if you say, you know, I don't believe it, or, you know, do you know what I mean? So let's just say that, right? But it says, he said that on the morning of 10th of January, when the couple were due to fly home, Miss Harrison and her father argued about Donald Trump. Chris and Lucy ended up having quite a big argument, which led to Lucy running upstairs and being upset. Right? There's nothing wrong with running upstairs, being upset. Families argue. Families argue. But why did it lead to this? So it says, he said Miss Harrison asked her father how he'd feel if she was sexually assaulted, if she was, we'll just say it. You know, I don't know if the YouTube algorithm is going to enjoy me saying that, but hey, this is the article, you know. So if she was assaulted, right? Her father replied that he had two other daughters who lived with him, so it would not upset him that much. The inquest heard. So by her making this comment, I'm going to assume that she's the one that she doesn't like Donald Trump because there's accusations or allegations, allegedly, that Donald Trump may have done something. She's heard something somewhere. There's lots of reports coming out. You got Epstein stuff. You got the stuff where he's supposed to have groped a lady back a while ago or whatever. Okay, so she's obviously got her views about Donald Trump, and she's in Texas, right? And I know a lot of these Texans love Donald Trump, right? As their president, right? So she's gone to another country. She's talking to a man who's her dad, who lives in the country. I'm guessing he's American born. He says he's got two other daughters who live with him, or who lived with him. So it would not, and we'll address that as well. But, you know, they love Donald Trump out there. So she's probably ticked him off about her comments and her dislike for Donald Trump. But you know what? Your family. Let's just all get along. But they take politics very serious. Sort of like in Jamaica. Politics is serious. But anyway. Says her father replied that he had two other daughters who lived with him, so it would not upset him that much, the inquest heard. So he said Miss Harrison asked her father how he'd feel if she was sexually assaulted. So she's asked him how he would feel if she was sexually assaulted. And he says, it won't bother me because it wouldn't upset me that much because I got two other daughters who live with me. Like, what? What kind of madness is that? Why? What kind of response is that to something like that? To say to your daughter, your estranged daughter, sorry, maybe she's not estranged. They have a relationship, right? She's flown out to see him. I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know the full story behind why he's in America. Obviously, you know, her mum's probably based in the UK. Something happened somewhere. He had a daughter in the UK, right? But these two have obviously had a heated argument. So his response here is probably like, listen, I don't care what you say right now. I don't care. It wouldn't, probably wouldn't upset me that much because blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? So maybe that's pushed him over the edge. So see what happens next. And he says, then Mr. Little has said about half an hour before they were due to leave for the airport. So she's about to leave for the airport. This is the boyfriend, yeah, saying this. Mr. Harrison took his daughter by the hand and led her into his ground floor bedroom. Okay, maybe he's going to apologize, right? No. He said he heard a loud bang some 15 seconds later before Mr. Harrison started screaming for his wife, Heather. Mr. Little said, I remember running into the room and Lucy was lying on the floor near the entrance to the bathroom and Chris was just screaming, just sort of nonsense. Miss Harrison, who worked for fashion brand Boohoo, was described as a real force of life by her mother, Jane Coates. She said she cared. She was passionate about things. She loved to have debates about things that meant a lot to her. So she's a passionate lady, you know, the girl that passed away. The inquest heard a grand jury in the US determined there was insufficient evidence to charge anyone in connection with Miss Harrison's death. It was also told that Mr. Harrison had previously been to rehab for alcohol addiction. He did not attend the hearing, but his representative, Anna Samuel, said it was more akin to a criminal investigation than a fact-finding inquiry. In a statement issued by his solicitors, Mr. Harrison said, I fully accept the consequences of my actions, and there isn't a day I don't feel the weight of that loss, a weight I will carry for the rest of my life. I know that nothing I can say can ease the heartbreak this tragedy caused. I cannot undo what happened, but I can honour Lucy by being the best father I can be to her sisters and by carrying her memory forward in everything we do. I am deeply sorry for the pain others feel from this tragedy. Lucy's spirit, her warmth, her humour, her kindness will live on in all of us who loved her. An inquest is expected to conclude on Tuesday. So, it says here that no one has been charged. Where's it gone? Where's it gone? No. Yeah, there was insufficient evidence to charge anyone in connection with her death. So, hold on. I don't understand. So, she has an argument with her dad about Donald Trump. The argument gets heated, right? She asked him, how would you feel if I was sexually assaulted? He said, I don't care, I won't care. I got two other daughters, it wouldn't bother me that much. It wouldn't upset me that much. Right? He then takes her by the hand, takes her to his downstairs bedroom. 15 seconds later, a gunshot goes off. He's screaming. Let me just make sure I've read that correctly. Right? Chris was just screaming, just sort of nonsense. The inquest heard a grand jury in the US determined there was insufficient evidence to charge anyone in connection with Miss Harrison's death. I don't understand. But then he says, I fully accept the consequences of my actions. America's weird, man. America is weird sometimes, bro. And the inquest is expected to conclude on Tuesday. So they're going to open an inquest. No one's been charged. There's insufficient evidence, right? She is not an American citizen, I'm assuming, right? She's flown over there as a visitor, right? So she is not a gun owner. I think it's safe to say. Wasn't her own gun, right? It's going to be one of his guns, right? He's accepting accepted responsibility or the consequences for his actions. But what are the consequences? I accept the consequences of my actions. There isn't a day I don't feel the weight of that loss. I don't understand. If anybody can understand this story, please let me know, right? But this is just a crazy story. And I didn't actually read the whole story before I decided to make a video about it. So now I'm even more confused as I was when I started the video. Because he's not been charged, but yet he accepts the consequences of his actions. This is Sky News. This was literally an hour ago. This story was reported Tuesday, 10th of February, 9:31 UK. I thought I was showing you that, alright? As you can see here, alright? So, I don't know, guys. This has got to be a weird story. But you know what? I'll just end it by saying this, right? Your daughter, your child, your mother, your sister, your brother, your family is more important than the politician who has never met you, doesn't know who you are, doesn't care about you as an individual, right? Nobody's life should be lost. Nobody's life should be lost, but especially not a family member over a dumb argument over politics. You can disagree. Listen, you can vote this side, you can vote that side. My family is my family. If we disagree on who should be in charge, that's fine. You go to the workplace, there's going to be work colleagues who disagree that everyone's got a different view. That's fine. Why can't we just all get along? Everybody's got the right and the opportunity to vote for whoever they want to vote for. And that's all I say about that. Nobody's life needs to be lost. Nobody needs to be falling out. I'm never speaking to them again. All that kind of stuff over politics, over people that couldn't care less about you, people that don't care about you, people that have their own families. They've got their own politics in their own households. But yeah, you know, thoughts go out to the family of the young lady. Let me just say her name, Lucy Harrison. You know, she has a name. But thoughts go out to Lucy Harrison and Lucy Harrison's family. It's a sad tragedy, you know. And it's important that we have a relationship with God because we never know when our final day on this earth is going to be. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. He died for you on the cross and me, right? The Bible tells us so. That whoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. I'll end it with that. All right, guys. Get to know the scriptures, read the Bible, get to know God, build your relationship with God, and come to the cross. And yeah.